What's going on, everybody? Doc and Sloth, we are back. Finally back together into, ironically enough, some more Rocket League. And Sloth, Psyonix always does this to us whenever we post a video, I feel like. And we give an opinion
They,
about
they fix
something.
it immediately.
Yes, and then they talk
Yeah,
about
they
it,
don't
like, right away.
they don't mess around. I feel like we have a lot of power.
So this episode today, we're just going to be hanging out, playing some twos. Hopefully not playing too bad as Chipper here decides to drive that ball backwards. And we actually kind of want to talk about a post that got put up today talking about some server updates that they did. So some stuff that they had talked about previously before with some hardware. And then as well some additional stuff that they did that was kind of, I guess, kept under wraps. Although probably not intentionally, that they were working on, and it brings to light one thing I've talked about pretty much forever, which I'm still sad about, but we'll at least wait till a little bit into the episode to talk about that. But Sloth, I think you were the one who actually ended up finding the post and talking about it, so if you want to give us some of the bare bones details.
We has more servers, I think is probably the quickest and easiest way to put that down.
Yes.
Psyonix talked about their server update. I'm a ball chaser.
Yep. Love it.
A little bit ago when we did the last video, I believe, and what they've basically said is, okay, we talked about it, now we've done it. So they have implemented new servers in the U.S. East, U.S. West, and Europe regions. So we now have a total for 10,000 concurrent matches. So we can have up to 60,000 people playing in matches at one time. So that's pretty solid. This is a game where we'll have a lot of people playing, but having that amount is pretty great. And the other big thing, I think they tipped their hand on some of their issues that they have had previously. And they spoke a couple things. So they said that they're getting more data than they ever have before. So they've tweaked things. They talked about kind of server-side updates the last time. So now they've added server-side updates to gather information and to try and get solid, concrete evidence of what it exactly is going wrong with all of these matches and all of these servers. And now they've added more. And one of the things they said is one of the things they're really focusing on is ensuring that their servers are running the correct amount of instances. So one instance equals one match. So it sounds like they have experienced probably not necessarily a lack of the number of servers, but it seems like the servers were malfunctioning. Is what that sounds like to me. Is you've had enough servers and you've had the server space, but you've not had the performance on the instances that are being actually run. So really interesting to me. I'm kind of curious to see if we'll ever get that information on exactly how accurate that really is. But that's exciting for me.
Yeah, so I think, and all great points. I think the one thing I took away from the post, well, there were two. There were a couple really good comments from people that know way more about servers and just how the game client runs and how the match side of it works. Obviously, anytime we can get more of something and the ability to do more is what you want, right? But somebody made a interesting comment that talked about, why not use, the cloud function essentially to be able to run your servers, and that's, in a lot of ways more efficient. I thought that was a really interesting response that they had, that they queue that up when there's, they have that capability and queue it up when essentially at appropriate times. So we've seen over the last couple months, they've done some free weekends and things like that. They're essentially queuing them up to be able to do that. And a couple other instances. I just found it interesting that they have that capability, yet it doesn't seem like they employ it all of the time. Obviously, as you talked about, new hardware is critical, and that increased capability is awesome. That's what the game needs. They said they did these updates over the weekend, which is, I really think, kind of interesting. I don't know that I'm trying to remember. I don't I can't remember that we had necessarily any issues. I'm sure they did it at a proper time, and they did talk about how it wasn't was not supposed to affect basically anything that was already going on. That they can do a lot of this upgrades, the hardware, the software, all that kind of stuff. They can do that stuff essentially in the background without anybody even noticing. And I'm sure that's all, again, how they run their servers and all the different stuff that they do. But I just found that I found that interesting. Again, it sounded like some people that really know a lot more about how the game and how that kind of side of the stuff works. But I the biggest thing I took away is we've been talking about is they're at least listening. You know, they realize that this is kind of the one big thing, like the meme that kind of surrounds this game is that just the servers are crap, and they're at least working to fix that, which I sincerely can appreciate that, and it seems like they're taking that approach with this game and understanding the impacts it has on a lot of different stuff. And I just let this shoot in. That was a great shot. So it's just interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what else they do with all this data moving forward. Hopefully, again, that they're using it. It's a little scary that they weren't already collecting this data. You know, I would think they would have. I would think that knowledge is power, and when you run a game that's reliant on an internet connection, you'd want to be collecting data on your internet. But who am I? I'm just the guy that plays crappy Rocket League and talks about it. So,
well, and so this is something that I've had some discussions with and seen some discussions on is this overload servers. So Vulture's come under a lot of fire, especially as of late with the servers kind of being poopy. So Vulture is the company that hosts Rocket League's data centers and works on their servers. So understandably, they've kind of come under some fire. But I've seen a lot of folks talk about folks that actually know what they're doing with this kind of thing. That I cannot remember for the life of me who runs the backups and the overloads, but it seems like their track record is not much better. That's not fantastic either. So I mean that kind of seems like the silver lining to me in all of this. They're gathering data and they're looking at it, and if I had to bet money, it would be so that they're gathering data to say, you know what, Vulture, you're not fulfilling what you've promised us, and we have contracts. That's the way a lot of these data hosting type of things. That's a big portion of how they'll work is the game contracts, and they say we've got Vulture for the next 3 years when they launch the game, and they can't get out of that. But to me, if I was looking to get out of that and I was saying I'm not satisfied with their performance, I would gather data and say our contract is based on you performing X. I had to focus and try to hit that, but I'm bad.
great save.
It's on you performing X amount of instances and all of these things, and you say we had 6,000 concurrent instances and stuff at any given point in time, but we're actually able to prove and say we did not, and we've spent the money to actually work on the servers and to give ourselves more concurrent instances and do all this stuff, and even though we've spent this money, your performance has still been X. So that's complete speculation. So I'm very hesitant to put that out there. That's why I didn't lead with that. But that's how I feel. That's what I feel like they're doing, because they understand that the only thing holding this game back right now is the server performance.
Yeah, that's a great point. Again, it goes back to I just don't understand why not collect that data before. And maybe they didn't have the technology or the money, or there's, I'm sure, tons of different things. And to say that they weren't collecting any data is probably not fair. I will say it's a right step forward, and it was probably perceived the wrong way when they did it. But I can tell you that it seems like a right step forward when you start talking about having those indicators be in the game. And I think that just goes to show you that, while that was perceived to basically make it look like the player's fault. You know what I mean? Like, oh, your internet's crappy. Well, that's probably a portion of what's going on. I think again that encompasses everything that we're talking about. That they're looking at the data, they're trying to figure out ways to collect it, and after this point, the other interesting thing is with all the data collected, they have to figure out the right way to analyze it, and that's hugely critical. And I'm sure they're gonna hopefully be able to do that. But I mean, you're right. It's that is definitely an avenue, and I mean, there are performance measures that you can hold your essentially your contract company responsible for. So I think it's good, and your last point you made is absolutely spot on, which is that is the only thing holding this game back. If the servers were never an issue, minus any crazy server outages or major internet outages for anything that hosts, what else would people complain about? I mean, the game runs fluidly. We would be talking more about why we haven't seen a new Rumble mode or something like, which we talk about. But as far as an esport and as far as that aspect of this game goes, like, that's what we're waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, and I know the next thing they complain about would be crates, but I can have that fight. I can argue against that.
Right.
It's a lot harder for me to argue the server performance because
Right.
I'm on the other side of the fence on that one. I think it's somewhat embarrassing. It's gotten to the point that it's gotten.
Well, and I think it has to stabilize and be important, especially as you look at the future of the game. Not only, wow, I can't believe I just missed that. Not only the competitive, the esport side, but also when you start talking about wanting to do cross-platform stuff. I mean, all that stuff is going to be hugely reliant on your servers to be able to host that, connect, and do what they need to do. So I mean, all that again is, to me, that's another step in the future of the game, and figuring out different ways and different things that you can do with people on different platforms is going to be critical to this game, not only surviving but succeeding, and staying relevant.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big step. I feel like the Xbox gang is gonna lose one.
Yeah.
I'll be on my PC at that point, I feel like.
Yep.
But in the meantime, I'm really hoping we could see a double drop weekend. And
Yeah.
Hey man.
Let's
they
not-
were talking about all this.
Dude, let's not. We were on an actual good intellectual discussion about Rocket League and the future, because we are invested in this game. Sincerely, I'm invested in this game. This game is a ton of fun. I mean, I love the competitive aspect of it, although the community can be kind of crappy, toxic sometimes. The bones are there. This has proven to be a good game, and it's got definitely a bright future ahead of it. Don't spoil it with this talk of not getting a double drop rate weekend, which I've only been waiting, 7, we were talking about this before, 7 or 8 months or something like that. Something get close to that we haven't had a...
Yeah.
October. Halloween of last year was the last double drop rate weekend we've got. And...
Well, I'll leave it somewhat academic if you haven't figured out by now. No double drop weekend yet, and
soon. Soon is the word we get.
yeah, soon TM. That's a trademark. I don't know if they paid Nintendo to be able to use that, but that's what the response was. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna keep it soon. We want to make sure server performance is where we want it. Which, to be honest, if it was server performance where I wanted it, we'd be waiting probably another 8 months.
Right.
That's not memeing. That's not kind of being gloom and doom. But it's a complex problem that demands complex solutions.
Right.
And I don't think we're gonna get those solutions in the next 2 weeks. So that is what it is.
The biggest hope I have is that this hardware, firmware, software update, I went for Boost, I'm hoping that it fixes it to their at least somewhat satisfaction, that they can then feel comfortable. The conversation that we had before we recorded this was, You've made a step in the right direction. People are seeing that you're making, and I get it. Let me say this: I get why you want the server side thing to be the most important priority, and you don't want to rush a double painted weekend, because what does that actually do for the game? People enjoy it, but what does it actually do for the game? Nothing. It does literally nothing except for getting people to play, and if your game's not playable on servers, then you're going to hear the same thing from all the people that didn't get to enjoy the double drop rate weekend. So I get it. With all that being said, it doesn't make sense to me why we wouldn't have had one by now. And especially after this recent announcement, I get it. Give it a week, give it 2 weeks to collect some data and see how it's performing. If it's better, do the double drop rate weekend. I just don't understand, from my perspective, and I said this in the last video, I don't understand why they're so stingy with these. Because what does it actually do? There's going to be no play. That doesn't affect anything, as far as I understand. I mean, it's changing the algorithm for when stuff drops and how crates are unlocked. Is that a huge drag on the server performance? Something tells me I doubt it. And so
Well, you got to think they're different. They're different groups.
Yeah.
Different people within the company.
Right.
Working on those things. So.
And that's why I was saying again, it doesn't make sense to me. We talk about a lot of other games that do stuff. Damn it. That do stuff to entice people to play. We actually had a perfect opportunity this last weekend, in my opinion. You didn't have an ERL CS go on, which realistically draws people to watch your game, but also play it. But you didn't have anything of that going on. Any fan rewards, anything extra for anybody, tuning in and watching. It would have been a perfect time. Do a double painted weekend. Get some people that, maybe were upset about the servers or something, and get them to play the game.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul, right? Get some extra crates. People that don't want to spend keys, I hear this conversation a lot. I don't want to spend keys, so what's the double drop rate weekend going to be? I'm not going to open any crates anyways. Well, if you've got some trade ups lying around, or you want to pick up some painted halos, well, I certainly would rather have the opportunity or the chance, even if the chance isn't significantly that much greater. I'd rather have the chance to try to get a drop and try to get a painted halo, or heck, get some crates and then trade. Use those tools to your advantage, and I just don't understand why not do it more consistently.
Yeah, I mean, because then you're looking at things like PCCs, the price of player's choice crates go through the roof. You're going to get things from matches. You're going to, all that stuff. So yeah, it can affect everybody. It can affect anybody. But I thought it was pretty humorous. I saw a guy who was complaining on Reddit because he's like, man, I've had 25 keys for, like 3 weeks. Like, give me this double painted weekend. And I had to be like, man,
you don't even, bro. You don't
keys.
Even know.
We've been doing so for like 6 months. Like, come on. But I mean, it's fair. People are excited about it. I mean, we've had the conversation before that like, I'm not sure why they're so stingy either. I mean, it goes back to like crate drop rate. Like it doesn't hurt anything for them to drop crates, but the drop rate is so low, it's insane. So they leave us wanting more, which I guess is a good thing.
And again, they've talked about how they want the crates to be special. Especially when a new crate comes out, they want it to be special that you get it. I got no problem with that. There are still people. We're talking month, 6 weeks after the Triumph crate has dropped, that literally, I question how much they've played, but that literally have like, I haven't seen more than 2 of these or more than 1 of these. And, I'm sitting there, I'm like, is that really possible? Well, when you go to think about it, that there's PCCs and there's Nitro crates and Turbo crates and there's all this other stuff. Plus you did the spring event at the same time, and those crates were in the rotation to drop. Yeah, I can totally see if you don't play this game for more than a little bit each day, that you might literally have not seen a Triumph crate yet, just because of the terrible crate drop and everything that's in rotation, which is again something else that they can work on. That's an easy fix. Retire the crate. I don't understand.
Well, I mean, the one thing I can't fault is, okay, do all that stuff after. I do think there's multiple teams working on all that stuff, but it's not your primary focus, and you don't want to send the wrong message. I'm cool with that, as far as kind of pulling crates out of the rotation and stuff like that. But give us the double painted weekend, distract us from the bad servers.
Right.
Well, I mean, win-win. And I'm gonna pull a Triumph crate as we talked about the drop rate.
There you go. See, you got one. But how much do you play a day? You know,
Entirely too much.
He's like, I haven't stopped playing for 36 hours straight. It's my first one. So sorry about the terrible play, guys. It sincerely is harder to do this actively talking, and I know that sounds like a terrible excuse, but try this. If you're at home and you've made it through this far into the video and you're still watching and you're like, man, these guys are terrible, sincerely try to sit at your TV, put a mirror next to you, and just talk at it while you're playing Rocket League, and let us know how that goes. I was just playing bad, but we did get some updates. Zionix, we appreciate your listening to the community. Sincerely, we do want the game to succeed. Please just give us the double drop rate weekend soon. You know what I mean? That's all I'm asking. Do it a weekend. Do 2 weekends in a row. Start it tomorrow. I don't care. Just do it soon. Servers are the most important, but we can tell that you're sincerely trying. This is me talking science. I can tell that they're sincerely trying to fix the #1 issue in the game, amongst some other things. I know there's still some other bugs out there. There's trading glitches. There's inventory stuff. Got it. I want all that stuff fixed too. But I think they have the capability to fix that, work on that kind of stuff, and still reward the people that have been loyal and bring some of the player base back with at least a fun, exciting weekend with some double drop. That makes sense to me. But I do appreciate the updates, and I appreciate their transparency with stuff like that, especially after they've implemented it very quickly, talking about what they're talking forward. I did also see in the post that they're going to have a new roadmap up. So probably, I think they said sometime this week. So expect another video within a couple days, hopefully. Usually Thursday seems to be their day to release info. But hopefully we'll have a new roadmap up that hopefully talks about future updates, as well as the things that they're currently working on, and maybe actually legitimately give us a weekend that they're going to do the double drop. Hopefully they can outline some of that stuff. But that's what we're looking forward to. So some exciting news coming for Rocket League. So if you're a fan, definitely stay tuned to the channel. Sloth, anything else for the lovely folks out there?
I'm all talked out. Thanks for staying. Thanks for hanging.
You didn't want to give the cliche, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment on the video. No, we do want to hear your comments.
Let's be real though. Like, if you're watching YouTube, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, you know how to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. You don't need.
You don't
I'm
need
not the
us
boss of you.
You don't need us telling you. But it'd be cool if you did. But we can't say that. You know what I mean? No, we will link the post down below so you guys can check it out and see some folks' comments. If you are kind of newer into the community, hop over on Reddit. They do have a good page. They have a good thing going on. You can see a lot of the news coming up. You can see a lot of discussion from the community, which is, again, a lot of people invested in the game that enjoy it. Might have differing attitudes, as you're going to get on a mix of people on the internet. But it's a good place to go for some info and stay up to date on it. So we'll link that down below. As always, I'm Doc. That's Sloth. Average Gamer Guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you in the next video.